Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, C.
Good evening, baby. How are you?
Okay, life is great. I guess for some reason this evening it's a slight lag. I mean, maybe it's the weather and stuff like that that's going on, but we have a slight lag, so everybody bear with us. But anyhow, that's what happens. If you're chiming in, you already know you're chiming in. I'm Party. It's Party Marty's Let's Talk. That right there, that person that's with me is my lovely wife, Cece. She's the anchor. We have a few people that'll be
Hello,
chiming
everybody.
in. That's what's up. Anyway, if you're new to the show, our format is it's a round table. We talk about a few topics and we go from there. Show's an hour tonight. We come on every evening at 7 p.m. to 8, and we're on every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 8, and then we're on every Wednesday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. So that's pretty cool. You'll see we posted something else. We are now becoming an award-winning show, meaning my lovely wife Cece Tates and our historian Gina Lee, Rosanna Dan, and I call her, going to be honored this Saturday at Black Wall Street. I'll be posting it exactly, the address and everything. But if you're on Facebook and you see the post, it'll tell you exactly where it is. You may want to chime in anyway. Donnie Glover's his birthday. Donnie Glover, who's our illustrious promoter and producer, Black Wall Street, BlackUSA.news, BeMoreNews.com, uh, Channel 11's political analyst, author. His new book is what? See?
I'm
Black
Black
Wall
Wall
Street.
Street.
I'm
I
Black Wall
am
Street.
Black Wall Street.
I am Black Wall Street. And Unapologetically Black is his first book. He'll be having a book signing and what have you at this venture Saturday. So bear with me for a minute and I'll later give you all the information on it. But anyhow, Rosanna Dana Anna is at work doing something on a job, our historian. So we'll move right along. What we're going to do tonight is our usual talk about a few topics and things that are important in our world today. Since Gina, our historian, isn't here, we won't be talking a bunch of history. So we're going to be talking about stuff happening right now. We always start our
Well, we're
podcast and our
gonna
show.
leave the history to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about.
Well, if you're talking about regular stuff right now, you got the right too. Anyway, we always
That's
start
right.
off our show. Yeah, we start off our show with a prayer. And here's our prayer. We start our prayer, and then we take a quick moment of silence, and then we get into the show. Prayer starting. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in all our lives. Father God, we thank you for the time that you've given us to do this podcast and relax and enjoy ourselves. Father God, we pray for the persons over there fighting those God-forsaken wars so that we can sit home and do podcasts, watch games, and eat bonbons. Father God, we pray for everybody personally affected by anyway with the pandemic. Father God, we pray for the persons that's lost their lives from there. Father God, pray for the persons that are suffering with business from there. Father God, we pray for the families that are definitely affected by this. Father God, it's most important that we always pray that you just keep us in your circle. Father God, the greatest prayer that we could give you is for you to continue with your grace and mercy. Moment of silence starting. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, y'all. CC, if you'll see Party Marty. My name is Party Marty up here. My name is Maury State. CC is my lovely wife. CC is always impressed with my smooth segue on how I get people into the show. So it's real smooth how I do this thing. And if you don't know, out there in podcast land, which I've dubbed it, everybody has things that they're famous for. Back in the day, what's his name? The guy, he used to do Family Feud before them. Was it Richard Dawson? That rings
Yes.
a bell. Yeah, my wife. I try to hit you with something you didn't know. I didn't think you were old enough to remember that. But since it's your favorite show, you did. Richard Dawson, you know what he was famous for? Richard Dawson was famous for when he talked to people and he came over there. He kissed every girl on his show, black, white, rich, poor, green, Jew, Gentile. You get a kiss. You get a kiss. Everybody got a kiss, and everybody knew that that was just so heartwarming and so down to earth. He didn't give you a black, white, green, or whatever. He just was a cool dude. And it was just a noble gesture that he did. And that was real cool. We always remember that. Art Linkletter back in the day, where kids say the darndest things. Art Linkletter was, he would get around there with them kids and stuff, and he just had a way with him. He had a way with him. You know what I mean? We always remember that. Now, Drew from the new Price is Right, he had to grow on me. See, did you take to him right away?
Yes, yes, yes,
See,
because
but
Price is Right is synonymous with Bob Barker. It was so strange, just like it's so strange looking at Jeopardy without Alex Trebek. It's just a weird experience when it's always been that way.
my wife just summed that up because that's what threw me off. Why I didn't take to him right away because I've been looking at Bob Barker for so many years. You know what I mean? Price is Right. Drew he threw me off. He's good at it now, but I don't think he was that good at first. But he real smooth with it now. But anyhow, moving right
Right.
along. If it's something else that you don't notice, I have this thing that I do, and I don't care what show you watch. I don't care what network. I don't care if it's Donnie Glover, the producer. I don't care who it is. Only here on It's Party Marty. Let's talk. Does anybody have my famous move? What do I call it, CC?
The segue.
The segue in. Now. I want y'all to watch it. Sometimes duplicated, often imitated, but only one person is the originator of this. And watch how I do this. I say like it's I say, CC. What's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
And then I
Your
come
turn,
in and
C.
say, I'm Cece reporting for Party Marty Let's Talk. And my topic today is transgender athletes, specifically in the Olympics. So I'm sure
Say
if
it again.
anybody
Say it again, baby.
trans
What is it?
transgender athletes in the Olympics. Transgender
Wow.
athletes in
I,
the
I,
Olympics.
I, I, I didn't even know that. So we are, well, you know what, podcast line? This is what I'll do. Instead of asking questions, shut up, sit back and listen and learn. Go ahead, baby.
Okay, so there's a lady, her name, who goes by the name of Laurel Hubbard. She's from New Zealand, and she's going to be the first transgender athlete to compete at the Olympics.
Excuse me.
Now, she is competing in the women's weightlifting, and the
Whoa,
International Olympic
whoa,
Committee.
whoa, 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 whoa. Now, whoa. Come on now. So technically, let me get this straight before you go past this, because I'm just going to listen and shut up, and I apologize. Technically, we have a male who's went over to be a female. Let's start all over again before I go any further. As I mentioned last episode when they was talking about what was the initials that you gave us for gay lesbian. What were those initials?
LGBTQ plus.
And what did it mean?
A transgender, bisexual, queer, and I'm still trying to figure out the plus.
Let's start all over again, and then now let's add what we already have down there. What is we talking about? What
Transgender.
now? Transgender.
Transgender.
Transgender. Let me
So
explain this. Let me wait a minute, baby. Let me get this in here off the top, off the grip, as we say in West Baltimore. And remember, Party Marty is giving me this. And if you don't know how I do things that you should hear, attention. If you have a problem with black, white, rich, poor, Jew, Gentile, transgender, gay, somebody, Baptist, Muslim, now transgender. If you have a problem with a person because of their behavior, I got you. If you got a problem because a person is a slash AS, not ASS, we'll give them that ass hole. I got you. If you got a problem because somebody's a bully, I got you. But if you got a problem with a person about their sexual preference, you got a problem about their religion, about their weight, about them being transgender, something like that, they are not sick. Drum roll, please. Your dumbass is. One more drum
Absolutely.
roll. If you have a problem with them, they are not sick. Drum roll, please. Your dumbass is. And let's move now. I'm gonna tell you, I'm already not pleased with this topic because I personally think, and my wife will talk, and we'll go from there. Because tonight we want a bunch of roundtable. We want comments. We'll be answering comments a lot tonight. We send our panel down tonight for a bunch of comments. This is a episode.
That's right. We want everybody to chime in.
Everybody chimes in tonight. That's what this is about. We're practicing to go because we're now an award-winning syndicated show that we go off on the daytime too. So we need more topics and stuff. But I do want to say this. See, that's a terrible topic. I mean, a terrible field to start in because naturally, I would think a man is going to be stronger than a woman. So it's an asterisk.
Okay. So listen up.
Okay.
So the International Olympic Committee changed the rules in 2015, allowing transgender athletes to compete as a woman as long as testosterone levels, and we all know that testosterone is the male hormone, testosterone levels are below a certain threshold, meaning that um, trans a lot of people who are transgender take hormone suppressing drugs to lower their testosterone levels so that they won't grow facial hair and all this and things of that nature, things that would make them visibly more masculine. So, but testosterone, the controversy comes in when we're talking about testosterone levels, because even though the therapies suppress the hormone, if a person, it's argued, and I don't know how much scientific proof this is, if somebody knows, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand and from my research, testosterone is, even with the drugs suppressing it, if a person went through puberty as a male, that even the drugs can only suppress the hormone but so much, meaning that it's still in you from when you went through puberty. And testosterone increases muscle mass, and it gives biological advantages to those who went through puberty as males, such as increased bone and muscle density. So, that being said, even if somebody identifies as female, they went through puberty as a man, then they are naturally stronger. All of us women, like myself, who always want to die trying to lose weight, this, that, and the third, and we know you can have a man sit down beside you. My husband can sit by me and eat the exact same thing that I eat, and I'll gain 5 pounds. So we all know that naturally that uh, fat and muscle distribution in a person who is born female is very different.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that the suppressant drugs can do to change that. Because even though we're inclusive, we're accepting as a family, a community, but we have to also be realistic. There's some things, no matter what you do, that male hormone is still going to take precedent if you were born a male. You are
Right.
going to be naturally stronger than a woman. So the controversy behind all this is that the people who were born women that are competing in this same event said that this lady has an unfair advantage.
Most
So
definitely.
I just thought that that was really interesting. And there was another lady. Her name was Anna Van Bellingham. I think if I butchered the last name, I'm sorry. But she's in the same contest, and she said that it's unfair and it's like a bad joke. So they feel like this is an, something similar to doping. You know what I'm saying? Where you can't take steroids and all of this. They feel like the concept is similar. And I, I kind of and by no means anti anything. You know what I'm saying? However you want to live your life, live it. Whoever you want to be that. But I would have to agree that it's nothing that you could do to make that an even playing field.
I agree. I agree. Hey, first of all, good evening, Doc.
Good evening. Good evening. Good to
Yeah.
be here.
Good evening.
All right. All right.
Doc, great topic, Cece. Cece started us off with a bang, Doc. She started us off with,
I see.
yeah, the what was the format, Cece?
Transgender athletes competing at the Olympics.
And the
Mm-hmm.
first time they allowed a trans,
There's a transgender athlete who is going to be the first transgender athlete to compete in the Olympics. Excuse me, everybody. I'm tongue tied this evening for some reason. But she's competing in the weightlifting competition.
come on,
And,
Doc.
you
Come on,
know,
I
Doc.
don't. I personally don't agree with it, and don't get me wrong. I think everybody has the right to live their life the way that they choose.
Uh-huh.
And but if you're so apparent that you want to let people know that you are transgender, then they should have their own transgender
Wow.
competition,
Wow,
and
wow,
yeah,
wow, wow, wow.
where it would even the playing field. So you would
right.
have women who are living as men compete against women who are living as men, and then vice versa. They would have men who are living, as women, or vice versa, as far as with that. And I said, but it does. I don't agree because you hit it on the nose with the way that the body structure is, the bone structure, the mass, and different things of that nature. So you have somebody who may have been born male and may have
Right.
those different attributes as far as with that. So it's not about a wig, it's not about hair, and different things of that nature, or wearing a dress or something like this. We're talking about actually the DNA, that
Mm-hmm.
how they were
Absolutely.
born. And
Yeah.
so, so really, I mean, and I don't think it's offensive. I think that they should be able to have their own, um, uh, uh, I would say, saying competition with which would even the playing fields because they would be going against, people who are living the same way.
You
And
know,
not to mention that this particular lady, I try to watch my pronouns. So this particular lady has competed as a man
Hmm.
in Olympic competition. In 2013, won a gold medal.
as a
So
man,
as a man,
Hmm.
see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? As I said, Doc and CC, I don't care. I'm not prejudiced against anything. I'm not prejudiced against your sexual preference, your color, your race, your creed, your religion, nothing like that. But this right here starts off with a slap in the face.
Right, it
And
does.
if somebody gets in there and loses, Cece said we talking about already Olympic world class winner. You know what I
right?
mean? Now he's going. It's
And
impossible for him to lose.
if she wins, then think about the lost opportunities for the female born athletes who have
Exactly.
prayed so hard to get. I mean, Olympic medal is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Some people train all their life to make it to the Olympics.
Right,
And I
right.
think that it's just a slap in the face to them. I mean, this is I mean, to us it's a topic, but to them this is their life. These people been training since they were children to one day reach their dream of getting to the Olympics. And I just don't. I agree with Dr. Sutton. I don't
Yeah.
think that they should be excluded, but I think that there is that we should put everybody where they belong. They
And
should
and
create
and
for
and
them.
even further, I look at the guy Bruce Jenner, who is now Caitlyn,
Right.
I
Right.
guess Jenner. Um, if he had decided to go transgender during the time of his prime, if he beat all of the men, there would have
No
been no
way.
even opportunity for any
Mm-hmm.
women to have come close to beating him on any level. And I think that that if they are and when I'm saying that so if a person is proud to be transgender, and I think that you shouldn't try to compete when you're talking about just women,
Right.
as far as with that, or if even just men, I mean, I think that they should have the opportunity to have it, and where it's leveling the playing field for you to have the opportunity, and also for other people to be able to have the opportunity to actually have a fair chance, at winning. I mean, because if
And
you
that's
have
the
a
whole
whole
thing.
team. Hmm.
That's the whole thing is that, to make it fair, it can only be competitive if it's fair.
Right,
And
right.
to somebody, and I'm sure that somebody will say to us, or somebody will call one of us or something and tell us about what we said, this, that, and third. But just keeping it 100 is the fact that if you want to create if this is a community, the LGBTQ plus community, this is a community, then you don't always have to be inserted into things that already exist. You can create your own. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
It's a very powerful community. You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's a lot of very powerful people, people with vast resources that are members of the LGBTQ community. Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, you could go on and on. People coming out every day. Some
Mhm.
such a day I forget his name. Maurice will tell me, but the NFL player that
Yeah,
came
he was with Oakland, with the
out.
Oakland Raiders. Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like this is some small off-put people in the closet round the corner. I mean, loud and proud, and I stand with you.
Hmm.
But I think that's a conversation that even with the Olympic Committee that should be had, is that to create their own events, so that it's fair and equitable to everybody.
Right,
Uh,
right. And you know what? And you hit it on the nose, because I think we're losing something in our community when we have a group like the Boy Scouts, and I'm just using that as one example. Now, the Boy Scout had its own issues kind of going on, but I'm using the example of the Boy Scouts. You had people who were actually petitioning, why could not girls be a part of the Boy Scouts? And I mean, I'm just like, look at the name. It's saying,
Right.
what I'm saying? It's like literally Boy Scouts, and
yeah.
so
Right.
Yeah.
so they had some other issues, but toward the end, people had went to court so that their daughter could be a part of the Boy Scouts. And so that, and then so also so that young men could actually be, part of the Girl Scouts.
Oh, come
And I
on. We
think
going
that
too far.
I think that that we're losing something, in that, because I feel that I'm okay with anybody choosing to live their life the way that they choose, but no one should have something forced upon them on one way
Right.
or the other. And
Absolutely.
so if I start a group, and I'm just saying, like I started something called the Strong Brothers Alliance, and then also I had, something called Men Against Murder, and but it's just what it says. And now for me, we work with women groups. We work with women. They could be in a part of our programs and different things of that nature. But the name is just what it is, you know. So it's not, you
Right.
know. So I'm not going to change, you know, the name. You know, when we march, anybody can march with us. When we do a
Yeah.
program, anybody can come and be a part of what we're doing. But the key piece was for men to stand up for their communities and to take back our homes, you know, as you know, because I feel that that's part of what the problem is not having certain men in the homes, you know, and being visible, positive males in our communities, you know. So
Right.
we can't have somebody force and oh, because I feel this way, you know, we got to change, you know, everything. In fact, as
And,
far as with the
and
school system, I was saying one person petitioned that he did not want his daughter to say the pledge, and because it had God in it, and actually they ended up taking prayer out of school, out of all of the schools in the country because one man really did not want and actually and that was a situation he was mad at the wife because they were getting a divorce, and that's really what it was even about. One man petitioned, went to court, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and had prayer taken out of school, you know. And so, you know, we you know, we can't have certain things forced on us, you know. We meaning like you're free to do what you want, but I'm not, you can't force what you believe on me.
You
right,
know.
because we've already become a hypersensitive nation, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
everything somebody's offended by everything. You know, and if why does your daughter need to be a part of the Boy Scouts when they have the Girl Scouts? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If
Right.
you know the same programs taught in the Girl Scouts that they're being taught in the Boy Scouts, then you go to the Girl Scout troop leader and you implement that. You say, I want my daughter to learn to start a fire, use a hunting knife, or whatever it is the Boy
Right.
Scouts do. You know what I'm saying? There are ways to be inclusive without being intrusive. You know, because
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
I like that. See, I like
I
that.
know
I
like that.
like
I
that.
like that too.
Yeah, that's
it
smooth.
puts infringing on the rights of other people so that somebody else can have their rights. What makes another person's rights more? What makes one person's rights more important or more valuable than the next?
Right. Right.
If you just jumping in, first of all, thank you for chiming in. My lovely wife, our anchor CC, just brought up a topic. Dr. Sutton chimed in. The topic is about having a transgender person in this Olympic coming up. It's a man that was born a male, but he's a transgender. You know exactly what it means. But the conversation was about that he or she, whichever we call them, the transgender, is entered into the weightlifting part of the Olympics, and I'm thrown off because CC said that he's also as a man won a competition in the Olympics as a male. The point that Dr. Ted came up with, Bruce Jenner now has moved over as a transgender. He's no longer known as a man. He's known as a female now. And this was a triathlon Olympic winner. What if he would
Hmm.
have chose to compete in the women's Olympics? He'd have beat all the men in the world. He was the best of the best in the world. The Olympics are
Right.
worldwide. He was the
Right.
best in the world. This man that won as a man in weightlifting won as a man worldwide. You know he's gonna win as a woman. The big point that I got out of it, and before I go on, let me say this. I want y'all to know these topics and stuff, and this is why we're such a good show. Because of my team. Did you hear all the different points that just came out of that and all the
Hmm.
information I didn't just know? Dr.
Hmm.
Sutton is going to elaborate at another time on what he said. I knew that they took prayer out of school
Hmm.
only because they took prayer out of school. Now he just now informed us because he is a student of knowledge that it was really one person that really came up with this.
Hmm.
It was really backed by everybody, but one person brought it up. I mean, it was really backed by nobody. Just
Right.
one
Right.
person brought it up.
One person. One
One
person.
person, and to satisfy the mass, to everybody, it worked. Who would have thought that something dumb as that would work? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just remember back in the day, if you don't want to put your hand over your heart, don't put your hand over your heart. When we came along to prayer, CC, everybody prayed in school and your hand went over your heart. You got in trouble if your hand wasn't over
Absolutely.
your heart. Some people start, baseball players were the first people I seen start praying. They would be saying a prayer out loud and everything, Doc, but they didn't have their hand over their heart. Maybe they had their hat in
Mm-hmm.
their hand, whatever, but I remember that. People fail to realize about Colin Kaepernick. A lot of y'all don't know. Colin Kaepernick never asked for a platform when he decided to kneel. He never asked for a platform. Colin Kaepernick was not kneeling. He was sitting on the bench
That's what
when
he
they were
was.
doing the Star Spangled Banner. And somebody asked him why wasn't he? He said because he didn't agree with it. And that was
Right.
it. That's how it started. He never came up and said, woo, woo, here's me, bells and whistles, none of that. He was sitting on the bench. It was brought to him. And after they told him he couldn't sit on the bench, he solved it. He kneeled. He didn't ask anybody to kneel with him. Colin Kaepernick's first kneel was by himself. There was
Yes, it
no one
was.
with him. He just said, I'm not going to stand for it. So the opposite of standing is sitting. If I can't sit, then he kneel. He couldn't be on the bench. They told him they would find him if he was on the bench, so he kneeled. That's where it started. Now, I want you to
Mm-hmm.
think about a comment that CC came up, the doc elaborated on. Person's been trying, praying, planning, paying money, getting um 54321. Dr. Sutton's nephew, my nephew,
Mm-hmm.
is a college basketball coach who
Right.
gets paid top dollar to train your child. There are
Mm-hmm.
people that pay Brandon, right, CC,
Oh
to go
yeah.
all
Yeah,
day just one on one to make your child a better basketball player. It's
And he's
and
good.
he's good,
yeah.
but he
He's
gets
great.
paid for it. It's people
Mm-hmm.
that put out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on personal trainers to lose weight. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? To get better in basketball, to get better. It's people that have been training all their life to win the women's weightlifting competition. And now, when
Yep.
it's your year to finally win, you put a man in there.
Right.
That's technically what you did. You put a man in there. Now, to me, I'm going to bring this home because we're going to move to the next topic. But as I say in my smooth way, that's some bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And you
some
know what?
bullshit.
And just to just reiterate on one thing that you said when you were
Yes.
talking about Colin Kaepernick, he was sitting down. But check this out. He talked to some military people and he told them why. And they said, well, you know what, we agree with you. And they said, but it would be more respectful. He said to kneel. That's what they do, even when when they out there in the field and they'll take their gun and they'll kneel, they'll take
So
one knee. And
a
so he
military
asked
person gave
they
him that?
the military
Hey,
people
look at
told
my
him that.
man.
So they don't. So when Trump is saying, "Oh, he hates the flag," "Oh, he's being disrespectful," they have not even he's being disrespectful to our military. That was just their own. That was a platform that they started. The military people were actually the ones that told him to be more respectful. Please kneel.
Ain't that something? You
Yeah.
know what? Ain't that crazy? And you know what? Because I don't have the information. I thank God for my panel because I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
information. That's three things I knew nothing about uh, 30 minutes ago. I knew nothing
Mm-hmm.
about this weightlifter. I knew nothing about Colin Kaepernick was informed by somebody in the military. It was told to
Yes.
me and it was publicized that the worst thing he could do, he was embarrassing the military. He was doing this and the information was given to him from the military. Ain't that something? You
He was
can't make
even
this up.
he was even specific with saying the last stanza. See, they do the national anthem, but they don't really do the part that's the end
Oh,
that
never
talks
have.
about you keeping slaves. That
Yeah,
talks
yeah.
about meaning that they were talking about being free, but they was you talking about us as property. And
Right,
so
right, right.
so the end of the song, most people don't even know that part. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yep.
part that he was saying that we have to address the whole song. And we're watching, and he was watching young men getting killed, just getting pulled over for being black. and he thought that I should bring some attention to it. So I respected it. But when he talked to some people in the military, and it was a specific man too who was actually had rank, and he told them, like, when they're talking with their sergeant and when they're out, he said they tell them to take a knee. And he said, and so it would be more respectful to not sit during the anthem. He said he was to take a knee when you were doing that. And he
Right.
started doing that, and they turned it into something else.
And you know what? What they turned it in, it worked on me too, because Doc, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had no idea that somebody in the military told him to use this as his vehicle. But they
Right,
made it
right.
like it was the worst thing you could do to the military. They wanted to hang
Mhm.
him and all this kind of
Oh
foolishness,
yeah,
you know?
booing them.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was just because that's what they wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. And it's the format that Doc told us when he spoke about, and Gina, when they spoke about um, Black Wall Street bombing.
Mm-hmm.
No, the Black Wall Street murder. That was their
Mm-hmm.
chance. They saw that money floating around, going hand to hand 10, 15, 13 times. They didn't have a way that they could get that money out of there. So they took advantage of any opportunity they could to go target these people, destroy, kill them, and do whatever else they could. They were opportunists. That was the opportunity. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they flipped on Kaepernick's stance by saying, while you kneeling, you're against the service, you're against the armed
Right.
forces. And people like myself didn't even know. I own up to my shortcomings. I mean, I knew I had my opinion that it was right, but I didn't know anything about that. You know what I mean? It could have possibly be, I wasn't in the service. Could be something that
Mm-hmm.
was spearheaded by a person in the service to tell them to do.
Yeah.
Great time.
Mhm.
Great
And,
topics, both of y'all.
and the thing that's really quickly, like Dr. Ted said, is that the Star Spangled Banner, the version that we sing at our
Mm-hmm.
sporting events and all of this stuff, is only a quarter. It's not even half of the song. It's only
Mm-hmm.
a quarter. There are actually four verses to the
Mm-hmm.
Star Spangled
Yeah.
Banner. We only sing one because as it goes on, just like you said, they start talking about free men and this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not inclusive of people of color who were not free men at the time.
Right. Right. Right.
Say it. Hey y'all, let me make an announcement so that we know. We want y'all to know that Saturday, June the 26th, which is this Saturday, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Terra, Terra Cafe, Be More, Jerk Garden. You remember all that, boy, you better than me. Terra, Terra Cafe, Be More, Jerk Garden. It's located at 101 East 25th Street, Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
Maryland, 21228. Once again, 101 East 25th Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21228. That's when CC Tate, that's when Gina Lee will be receiving their coveted Black Wall
All
Street
right.
Award.
All right.
See, my wife cried. She took herself out because she was crying. But
Mm.
you know, isn't it funny? But listen, that was just a joke. But that's what'll be happening there. That's this Saturday from between the hours of 5 to 7 p.m. Somebody come on down and chime in and get yourself in there. CC, Doc was talking about. Doc said that you started crying and you didn't want anybody to see you crying. Jumped out of there.
No, I'm gonna you know, just like I tell y'all, we always try to keep it real. So I'm gonna tell you what I was actually doing was I was trying to put the address in the chat so that you could put it across the bottom of the screen, and trial and error wound up to be error that time.
They got good
Oh,
food down there.
oh, you been there, Doc?
Black owned. Yeah, it's a good brother that owns that place.
Okay, well that's what's up, man. Hey,
Yeah,
everybody,
Terrence Dickens. He is
everybody, get down there. And here's your next thing. If you're down there at the award and you remember this, and you come up to me and say, "Party Marty, I heard this on the show," then that drink's on me. So if you
all
come
right.
up, I want you to know anybody that comes up to me and says, "The Party Marty, I heard this on the show. I'm here because of the show. Dr. Ted said to come down and visit." That's what you must say them all. You got to remember. You can't make it up. I'm down here because of the show. I'm down here from what I heard on the show. Dr. Ted was the one told me to tell you, give me a drink. If you come up to me with that smooth line, your next drink is on me. Now you know you a Rich's night train drinker. Don't come up here and tell me you want a cup of Louis. Don't say that you want some Henny.
That,
That ain't what you drink.
those,
You know
those
you
are
drink
drinks
pluck.
that they drink when they gotta pay for it. Those are not the free drinks. The
Right,
free
right,
drinks
right,
always
right,
be on the shelf.
right.
All right, y'all. Moving right along, y'all. You see, we got the doctor with us who comes in, and I really appreciate him holding us down, lady. Doctor's actually become one of the team now, and that's the great, best thing that could possibly happen to our team and us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To get another hit in here. So, Doc, we bow to you now. What's your topic for tonight? Give us some knowledge so we'll know. What is it you're talking about?
Well, really, I guess I'm talking about something that was significant. I had a young man that actually had a very bad experience down in Ocean City, and he vowed to never go back. He actually felt that he was profiled, and actually he had the same type of incident that that young man that got arrested did, down there. So I'm actually trying to help him to pursue, so that he can receive some justice, down there. But I hate to see young men that I've helped to change from coming from the streets to try to do things better, and they ended up pulling them over, no real reason. They, ended up arresting him in front of his kids, and then also I'm pursuing it because they actually he had some weed, but they didn't lock him up for weed. But they did take the weed, but they did not put it in the paperwork that they took the weed. And then also he had some money, and the same thing happened, with that. And so, that's pretty much just how that is. So I want to try to pursue it just really on the grounds that I think that we have to let people know that there are channels to go through to try to pursue when you
Hey,
have been
Doc.
mistreated.
Doc,
Hmm.
your volume turned down some. Can you turn it up just a little? Your volume.
Okay, sorry about
Okay, there
that.
we go.
Sorry about
Go
that. I
ahead.
apologize. Somebody was trying
No.
to call me, and I was like, I was
uh,
trying to cut them off.
Yeah, that's
Saying,
what
but
I kept
no,
looking down doing.
right. So what I was saying was is that when our youth and young men or young ladies, have been mistreated, they have to know that there's a level of justice that's for everybody. And so so because a lot of times if people feel that they can't get judicial justice, then they want to get street justice. And
Mm-hmm.
so
yeah.
we have to let them know that there are channels and that there is a justice for them to also. And so, so that's why I'm trying to assist and help. And so, but my stance was is that what happened to that young man that got caught up vaping, from what I'm hearing now, had been happening to some other, people, saying, way before that. And so it has a certain level of a history, of that.
Mm.
Wow.
And a lot of these police reports, that just brought to mind when we had that whole big thing about the gun trace task force in Baltimore City. Some of these things are patterns of abuse with these departments. You
Hmm.
know, and one thing that really struck home that you said is, these young people that work so hard to change their lives, to try to do the right thing, to try to be a better person, to try not to be that person that everybody told them not to be. And then for them to be abused and mistreated by people in positions of authority and power, uh, it has to be disheartening, and it makes them question whether or not it was really worth making that change.
Right,
You know,
right, right.
Hmm. That's a good point. Um, Doc, good luck with your pursuit of that. Good luck with that young man. Doc, it's amazing to me how God works. Doc segued into my topic. So once again, Doc, good. you know, is there anything you suggest or any way we can assist or set for prayer with this situation, or how does that go? What
Hmm.
is it? Let me ask you a question. Where does a person like you start with something like that? I often wonder that because, CC, we come up to these people of influence and power and we just give them something. Somebody came over to Doc's game. Doc wasn't there. He didn't know anything about it. He probably knew the young man, but he didn't know anything about it. I just want to know when you run into a wall like that, Doc, and somebody presents you with something and wants you and hollers, help, help, because that's what he's saying. You know that. Help. Just like being on the corner getting beat up. Help. Well, everybody wants somebody to come there to their rescue for a minute. So he came to you, asked for his rescue. Help. How do you where does that start? I mean, my wife, Cece's a geek. She's an avid reader. She does a lot of research, but I watch how she gets into something as tedious. Amazon charged us the other day, and everybody in podcast land, you watch out for that. What is it called? The monthly charge. What is it called, baby? The
Yeah,
retro.
the recurring subscriptions.
Yeah, return subscription. You gotta watch that. Cause they, if
Hmm.
you got a couple dollars, I ain't got no lot of money, but I got enough money that I don't see $59. I don't see $159 because my money fluctuates so much.
Right,
That
right, right,
that money
right,
fluctuates. Sometimes I got a lot of money, and then tomorrow I have no money. I just think it's normal because it happens to me all the time.
right,
By paying
right,
the
right,
payroll, by buying stuff, by buying equipment. You know what I mean? The
right,
mortgage
right.
coming out. The new and CC and I was talking about the new banking cash app. That's the new bank.
Right.
Our accounts are always hit because we cash apping people. So we can't
Hmm.
tell. But these people, it's something small, but they've been hitting us for 60 $70 like all the time. We won't talk about the exact place, but remember, baby, the lamp you bought for your she shack? Remember the one
Yeah,
in there? How much we spent like $250 for that
yeah,
$59 lamp? Because it
yeah.
was a recurring charge and it just came in. We never paid no
Hmm.
attention to it. You know what I mean? They were supposed to make the payment 3 times. They made it about 10 times. Till my wife
Right,
finally
Right.
right,
said, I'm not paying you another nickel. But the point I was
right.
saying before I went to the side is I watch how my wife has to continuously call these people back, continuously do research. They ask you to send them this, send them that. I listened to her the other day when she got so pissed off at Verizon. If I'm not supposed to say that, I apologize, but no, I don't.
You need
It's the
to.
truth.
They
It's the
need
Yeah,
to
truth.
know
Verizon,
about
man, I'm
the
telling you, our bill is astronomical. We have how many TVs, baby?
9.
We got 9 TVs. They charge you per box, and 6 of them are good, and 2 of them are out, and this is all on that line. It's getting old now. It's getting older. They
Hmm.
keep on running back and forth and keep charging us. Hundreds and hundreds of
And
dollars.
and the funny thing is when you call them with a repair issue, they tell you, well, go in the basement, go to your main box, and after a while, and I'm pretty patient. It take a lot to get me there. But after when I made that last call, I said, listen, before you tell me,
I
I'm
heard
not
that.
going in the basement, I'm not
I
checking
heard
nothing.
that.
It's somebody's job to come out here and make sure that this works properly. And I don't work for Verizon.
Right,
So
right.
before you start with that, let me stop you right there.
I heard her say I'm getting sick of it. I am literally getting sick of it. And Doc, you married. So I know
Hmm.
when I hear my wife get like that, you know what I do? I kind of go in the other room. Because it's a matter of
Hmm.
time before I say the wrong thing. The wrong thing could be high. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
You could be
right,
to say
right,
the
right.
wrong thing to her. She already up here about something. So I know not to say nothing to her right then. You know what I mean? You hungry,
Hmm.
baby? No, no, I ain't thirsty. I ain't hungry. I don't need the bed made. Nothing. I just leave it. But when she told, I heard her tell the guy, I'm not going to the basement. I'm not clicking on nothing. I'm not changing no wires. You pay somebody to come in. So back to you, Doc. I'm just saying, how does a person like you start that process? How do you get started on working on something like that?
Well, me personally, because and just to share, and I can talk to you later because you actually know the brother because he's one of the crew,
Wow.
that was mistreated, and so he's somebody that I've known since he was, let's say, 13, years old, with the around the guys and different things. But what ended up happening,
Oh yeah, then
when
I
I
definitely
talked
know
to
him.
him, Yeah, so when I talked to him, I told him and I said, "Well, I need you to text me some of your paperwork so I can kind of get an understanding. I wanted him to tell me really what really happened, and then I want him to also show me what they said happened. And then, I told him I was going to contact two well-known lawyers and try to find out, different avenues to go. And then also I wanted to make a phone call to internal affairs, because if they have a record and this has been consistency, what I'm saying, consistent with them, then that establishes a pattern. That is, and what I told him and what I tried to share with him. And because of sometimes some of our guys, they be like, nah, yo, I ain't no rat, I ain't no snitch. And I said, well, hold on, there's a difference between snitching and telling. You didn't have
Yeah.
no agreement to do a crime with him. If you
Mm-hmm.
get caught and he get away and and you tell on him to get a lesser deal, that's snitching. I'm like, but
That's
but an officer has taken an oath to protect and serve. But Lil Melvin used to tell me that the moment that an officer is committing crimes, he's no longer an
he's
officer.
he's a criminal. Yeah.
He said, I don't even see him as an officer. He's just in a different gang. He's
Mm.
just in a different crew. He's not, So he was like, so to me, that's why I think I hold the good officers accountable for checking your coworkers. When you see wrong, you have to address it. Don't let him, because y'all friends or you've been over to his house and he's been over to your house. Don't let him choke somebody knowing that something can happen later. Don't put the cuffs on extra tight because this man is intoxicated or this man may have mental health issues or whatever the situation is. And so to me, it's a pattern, with that. And then also trying to find out what is the history of this officer, because he may have a pattern of what's going on and it needs to be brought to light. So that's
Right.
really what I've been in the process of actually doing, right now, and just finding out, some things. And I'm actually going to drive down. I'm going down there, saying, to try to just get some information, talk with the people. I ain't even letting them know who I am or anything. I'm just going to come in, ask a couple questions that I need, and then I'm gone. I'm like that movie Gone with the Wind. But, you know,
Hey, hey,
but to
Doc.
me,
Go ahead.
yes.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's something I would like. You know what I mean? I won't be in your way or nothing like that. But if you, when you go or something like that, I would like to watch the process. I like to ride down there
Okay.
with you if I'm able to, just to see how to do. You know what I mean? Not
Okay.
not for that, but that
Yeah,
segues
yeah,
into
yeah,
my
yeah.
top. That segues into my topic. And first of all, Doc, excellent topic. And
Thank
CC,
you.
both of y'all. That segues into my topic. My topic is a volunteer. My topic tonight is a volunteer. You know, telling people, as Rhonda Samuels, Pastor Rhonda Samuels, told us about her father, give my father his flowers while he could smell them. Don't always
Mm-hmm.
give out the flowers when a person's dead. Give my Rhonda told us I'm having a party for my father's birthday. Mr. Samuels, John Samuels, who practically helped raise me. No, he didn't practically help me. He helped raise me. If you have anything to do with them swimming pools, anyway, I don't care what swimming pool you at. You in Baltimore. You owe John Samuels, Big John, we call him the creamer, a salute. Because he taught CPR, he taught lifeguard, he taught swimming. He was the one that opened the pools. He was the one that gave us a chance. He gave us Gina and them all their first license. He gave me my first summer job, but that's it. His daughter said, "Please give my father his flowers while you can smell them." When you have
Mm-hmm.
the Doctor Suttons, shout out James Mosier, the oldest surviving Black Little League in the country, over 50, 60 years, and going strong. Shout out these organizations that everybody is volunteering, using up all their time, effort, and money. You didn't hear Dr. Sutton talk about I'm going down there and I need some gas, so I need to take a
Right,
GoFundMe.
right, right.
That's gonna be his gas.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's any paperwork, you get some
Mm-hmm.
paperwork. They ain't giving away free paperwork, right? See, it's gonna cost you
Mm-hmm.
something to do this. But I just wanna acknowledge, shout out to my little league coach, Mr. Delmar Harrod, Michael Singletary for being part of this thing, keeping it going, and Donnie for giving back. But y'all, eh, man, tell somebody thank you. Man,
Yes.
tell somebody thank you. Man, these people who play baseball with your kid and stuff when you don't play baseball. I think back about it and I'll never forget this. This is true. The kid comes to the baseball game. He gets to the game. He doesn't have his hat. He didn't have his hat. Now his mother. You know that a hat is part of this uniform. You've seen him in there numerous times. You got to wear his hat to practice. Got to wear his hat to the games. Father, you didn't even pay attention. You and the child didn't even think about the fact that he doesn't have his hat. It's part of his uniform. But yet you're a police officer, you got all your stuff. You're a security guard, you got all your stuff. You're a janitor, you got all your stuff. You're an electrician, you got all your stuff. You didn't think about the fact that I'm going to help the little league coach out just by having his uniform. We forfeited, not when I was a coach, but I was helping somebody else coach. We forfeited, we had enough kids, but the kid didn't have his hat. And his mother said, I didn't notice it. His mother and father was there. So I didn't notice it. Now you got these other 8 kids here, and the parents all there that we got to forfeit, and everybody got to go home because you didn't even take enough time to see that this kid had his full uniform after dropping him off with me to help him learn the game or really watch or babysit your child. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Right.
You didn't put.
That excuse me for cutting you off, honey, but
Go ahead.
that just reminded me, just triggered something in my head as I was telling Maurice the other day that every time they show that little segment of that news footage on the commercial about the boy who had the 0.13 grade point average, and they put that little clip on there of his mother saying, "Where's the help?" I want to jump through the TV and just strangle her because you're supposed to be the help. You know what I'm saying? You just like we said, they send them to you for you to take care of them and babysit them, but they supposed to do their part at home by making sure he had the hat first. You know?
Didn't Dr. Sutton didn't ask you to come over there and give him any gas money. Dr. Sutton didn't tell you he needs help with his electric bill. Dr. Sutton didn't say that I'm going to bring you all the receipts back and you give me my money back. He said, I'm going to go try to do this to help somebody out. And do you realize right now that nobody will even take 5 minutes to say, Dr. Sutton, thank you. Job well
Mm-hmm.
done, attaboy. Do you know what it meant to
Mm-hmm.
CC and Gina for being recognized with Black Wall Street this award? Do you know what it
Mm-hmm.
really meant to them for this? You know what I mean? Dr. Sutton, like I said, flies all around the world and stuff like that. Don't you think that he has a whole shelf, closet, room full of awards? He don't got to run over there to get that award to you. You could send it, you could email it to him. It will be fine to the next person, but it's not fine to him. If you went out the
Right.
way to nominate him for and to give him this, he's gonna come all the way over there to receive it. You get what I'm
Yes, he
saying?
is.
Mm-hmm.
The work that he did was tireless. It was expensive. He missed his time, and CC tell him he missed something when he didn't go see the Mona Lisa, did
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
missed
I
something
didn't
when
get
you
a
didn't go
chance
see the
to.
Mona Lisa. You went over there and said, I'm not disappointed. I made my decision to go speak to these kids at this
Yeah,
church,
I
and I
did.
guess
I did.
if they would have asked me 10 times, I guess I want to see the Mona Lisa every time. But every time I'd have went to that church to speak to them 10 kids.
Right.
You
Right.
just never
Right.
know. Gina spoke way back in the day. Honorable Elijah Cummings when they were stoning Riverside Park when the wonderful people were throwing bottles and sticks and stuff at the beautiful people over there at Riverside Park, and he became cut with the glass. Who
Mm.
knows if while he was 11, 12, 13 years old, that spearheaded him to become the person he is today? Who knows? Who knows if
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dr. Sutton makes it out, gets this person to beat this charge. That's what we say in the streets. That's how we always say, beat this
Mm-hmm.
charge. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
it was no charge that should have been. It was an unjust charge. But we
Yeah.
always
Oh
got
yeah.
beat it because we guilty till proven innocent.
Right.
But
Right.
no,
Right.
nobody does that. CC watches. Well, this don't count because everybody in the house now is even my grandchild, great grandchild. But we got a house full of kids over there right now. She drops them
Yeah.
off, Yeah, she drops them off. Cece always saving the world with everybody kid. Always saving the world with everybody. Yeah, we want to go out. I want to go out too. But
Mm-hmm.
Cece said, well, they going out. You can drop them by here. That's where it started. Once one person said they dropping a kid, then everybody here. Next thing you know, we got 10 kids in here.
True
Mm-hmm.
You,
story.
yeah, true story. I just say, and then don't get me wrong, we don't care. But
Mm-hmm.
this is what I want to put out there in podcast land. It don't take but a minute to tell somebody thank you.
Come on now. Come
It
on
don't
now.
take but a minute to tell somebody well done. It don't take
Mm-hmm.
but a minute to give up an attaboy. Kids, if you haven't called your mother or father lately, take a moment to call them now. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't told your son you love him and you know that he failed that last test, but he's going to pass the next test, take time out to do it now. To
That's
all
right.
those volunteers out there in the world, to everybody that's adopted somebody's child, to Child Protective Services that's watching somebody overnight, to B. Gaddy that fed the homeless, Dr. Taylor who goes back and forth trying to solve the world and save everybody, CC the babysitter, Gina Lee who's out there volunteering, to all those persons that are going out doing God's work. Please, y'all, please. Even the party Marty, who just has a good heart. Shout out to Salvation Army, who helped save me. NA, who
Mm-hmm.
I laughed at before I got myself clean, who was helped part of it. AA, these programs, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, tell somebody job well done.
Yeah.
Tell somebody that
But
a boy. You know what I mean? I wonder how many people actually know before Ted was telling everybody the prestige and the commitment that his father had to the world. To the
mm-hmm.
world. To the world. You I listened to Doc when you was talking the last time, and I want you to say this real quick while we have time. Can you tell me some credentials that your father had?
Well, I think I mentioned to you he was a organizer for Dr. King at
Yes.
Southern and Grambling University. He got his degree in his bachelor's in biochemistry. He got his master's in social work, and he got his doctorate in theology. And he also opened up Maryland Church Community Daycare Center in the Park Heights area, and he was there for over 20 some years. And he also opened up Waku Little Citizens Daycare Center on Pratt Street. And they had schools, and they were really for people who may not have had money to be able to go to some of the other schools and different things. So he did a number of things, pastored two churches, and the whole nine. But he definitely had, and also he helped start what was called equal opportunity at Social Security. So, and that branch is still going on now. That actually helps people of color and people who may not be treated, the best. And so he helped start a special branch. It's called Equal Opportunity. So, he definitely did some things, as far as I was concerned, and we like when you said you got to give those flowers, while people are alive. I mean, I was talking to your friend Suge, Ray
Uh-huh.
Sidnor.
Yeah, my
He
man.
came to my event Saturday when I honored my father, and I celebrated 5 men who were getting the Father of the Year award in honor of my father. But you know what he had talked to me? He had told me, he said, when I told him about, that I was a Slim Butler was working with me with Men Against Murder and things like that before he passed. He said, Slim Butler bought me my first uniform. He said when he played basketball, he said, man, he said we were kind of, so poor. He said we didn't have money to even get that. He knew he was a good basketball player. He said he bought his first uniform, and Lil Melvin bought his first football uniform.
Wow.
But he was really never forgetting. Even though he became an NFL player, he played for Pittsburgh, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles and
Eagles, yeah.
different things of that nature. What I'm saying? Even though he did these things, that he never forgot who gave him his first uniform. And that's the way that we have to really, uphold people like you in our community. Because see, sometimes when people can't get a loan from the bank, they come to people like you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
real
When
talk.
people,
Yeah.
and that's how Melvin was. When people could
Mm-hmm.
not get a loan from the bank, when people couldn't do certain things. And so because that's why it kind of frustrates me when I see people that they done did something wrong, and they wanted, like, people wanted to party, and I saw one person, they was down in Miami partying, and they spent their money to come home, and so they doing a GoFundMe to come home, and then somebody else they done messed up, look, and messed up with getting some PPP money, and actually they did everything wrong, and then they did a GoFundMe. I don't want to go to jail. A GoFundMe, and I'm saying that here I gave a program. Every program that I've had, I've never even asked for a donation. I
Yeah.
gave out 1,500 toys, for the Christmas holiday. Gave away 50 turkeys to families, and turkey dinners and everything. Saying, and I never, and I actually got to probably do better with maybe being able to ask. I don't know. It's something about me that I don't feel comfortable. But I look at
Right.
people who are just so comfortable asking for frivolous stuff that don't even mean it. Like I'm not gonna fund you to go party.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm
Right.
not going. I'm not going to fund you. I mean, I'm gonna fund somebody to get some food. I'm going to
Yeah.
fund
Right.
somebody who lost their housing. I'm going to fund
Right.
somebody, what I'm saying, who don't have clothes for their child. I'm going to fund somebody that has a child that wants to go to camp and he can't. The parent don't have enough money to get him in camp. Now, to me, that's what I'm going to do. But when I see people are just gone overboard with some of these GoFundMe's. I'm gonna be honest with you. They really need to get
It,
checked.
all of this electronic begging, Dr. Ted, the Cash App, the Venmo, the Zelle, the GoFundMe. I'm so sick of all of it. I remember I like the old days when people had to catch you to beg you.
Right, right.
Now,
But
as long as you got a phone, they can beg for some money.
but the other part to it is the people who feel so comfortable to
Yeah.
just ask.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of
Mhm.
the people that if I ever ask you for anything, I probably really need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because see, I'm
Absolutely.
one of the people that I help people, but I save my favors until I
Right.
really need it. Because I'm kind of like
Right.
the Godfather be like, one day I'll call upon you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
As
I'm
we said.
gonna give you a position that you can't refuse. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you an offer you can't refuse, and because because I've saved that, so I ain't just ask you. Oh yeah, I just want you to do this. I just want you to do that. And this, that, and the third. I mean, I gave this event, I gave plaques, gave out cooler bags. People can change bottles and everything to Dennis Wise and the four other brothers, that really deserved it. And you know what? I did not ask for a dime from nobody. I did it 100% out of my own pocket,
In your
and
own heart.
so to me, and believe me, it was times that I wanted to say, like, hey brother, if you got, maybe some spare change, maybe $10 or $20, anything will help, what I'm saying, and something like that, and I mean I wanted to, but something about me was just like, man, nah, yo, you ain't known for, begging. And it's funny because it's really not begging. When God, I
Hmm.
think, puts you in a position to be a sharpened tool for the people you helping. So you
Right.
ain't even
Right.
asking for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That I
And
get
all
it.
this and that. And
That
because I done seen people, I done had people to hit me up asking me for money so they can go to the club and get the bottle with the sparkler in it. And I'm just like, why am I buying the bottle with the sparkler in it? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm about. I'm about life. I'm about
yeah.
trying to help somebody. I'm about trying to make change. You know what I'm saying? So really, if you want to throw money to the stripper, that's on you. You gotta get extra money for that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The stripper money is extra money. You can never take bill money. You can't take house money and take
What?
that to the strip club.
Hey, what?
Strip
What?
club money is supposed to be extra money. If you
What
don't
they?
have extra money, you don't need to be in a strip club.
Absolutely.
What the boy from Bebe's Kids say to comedian? He said like a spare change.
Yeah.
Spare change? You need a spare job. Why am I get some spare
Right,
Right.
change?
right,
That's what
right,
This
right.
that's
change
why
going to other change.
when I used to smoke cigarettes and people would come and say, "Do you have an extra cigarette?" I said, "This pack says 20 in here. If it's 21 in here, you can add an extra one. But other than that, no, I don't."
Hey,
Right, right,
hey,
right, right. I
hey,
like that one. I like that one.
hey, shout out to A Twila. We saw Twila in there telling everybody good job and everything. That's for you.
It's Twyla,
Yeah, yeah,
BB.
that's our lovely person, CC.
Yeah.
That's Twila. That's our person that started the show with us. She'll be back when she gets gets things, slowing down. It's much better if people offer to help you. BB is our
Right.
resident job volunteer. BB's you at Perkins. She buy the food, cook for this, and do that for everybody. When time come to put up $5, we all making like 80 grand. And time come to put up $5, Doc, and they tell I got three. And
And
they
you're
come
right,
in,
BB. It is much better if people offer to help.
just
Because if
Yeah.
people offer to help, then you know that they on the same page you on and that their intentions are the same. Even if it's for a worthy cause, I definitely understand the hesitation with asking people to help
you know,
because
Mhm.
no matter what, it'll always be spun another way. Ted
Right.
was over here begging for money. They won't say, Ted came over here and asked me to donate to his cause. Child, Ted probably on drugs. He was over here asking for $20. You know
hey,
what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
I'm gonna
You
tell
know what?
y'all.
I'm gonna tell you something. Party really, he really blessed me one time, and I gave something for the community up in Park Heights. I never forget it. And and I was like, look, brother, I was just like, let's try to work out something, a deal for. I wanted to get one of the moon bounces, and he
Right,
he brought
right.
the biggest one you could get in there too. It was a big one too,
And
and it was really something. And and I was like, all right, man, just let me know, what's the damage. And he said, man, just tip my guys as they come to pick it up.
you
You know
know
what I'm
what?
saying? He was, I ain't even worried, I ain't even, and you know what? And that was so touching to me. He don't know how much that meant to me because I'm not used to that. See,
Yeah,
like
thanks, Doc.
a picture of a lion, when you look at him, you never see him to ever need anything. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So when people see me, they, oh yeah, he's strong, yo. So he got it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So since I don't look like I'm got holes in my jeans, like I'm look like I'm thrown away, people like, oh, he got it.
no,
You know what I'm
nobody,
saying?
nobody ever stops to think who helps the helper. Who
No,
gives to the
no,
giver. Nobody
no.
ever stops to think that. Even your strong friends, check on them sometimes. Even
Yeah.
strong people have weak moments.
You
But
know,
when he
I
but when he did that, that blessed me. So it was almost a moment of just really giving me hope that it's good people out here.
and
You know
I'm
what I'm
gonna tell you
saying?
something on that note, Doc. You know what I remember about that event?
What was
Behind it,
that?
this church is so big. It's a mega church, right? For
Mm-hmm.
for a black church, it's a mega church. So and CC's from Park Heights. It's on Park Heights and Belvedere. But it's
Mm-hmm.
that church you
Yeah,
probably go by a million times and don't know
I
that's
know.
it. But
I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly where it is.
Then
I've
then
been
more
there.
then more in Spalding, right?
let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you
I've
something.
been there.
I was putting up the moon bounce, and when I put up the moon bounce, I had to plug it in. So I said, "There's no plug right here. Where to put it?" And Doc said, "Over there." I was with Brandon. He said, go over to the other side." So I said, "The other side." It was a big curtain right there. It's a curtain separating. It's like two churches or something. It's so big the area. He said, "Go to the other side," and I reached over to the other side again. Behind the curtain was like 5 tables long. I mean, full of toys. When I say toys, I ain't talking no dollar store comic books. It was bikes in there. They had Cabbage
Mm-hmm.
Patch dolls. You know what a Cabbage Patch doll cost? I mean, they had so many toys back there. I said, "What's this
Mm-hmm.
for?" He said, "They're giving it to the neighborhood." I said, "Well, how they figure out who getting it?" And Brandon said, "Anybody that comes." Wasn't no get a
Right.
slip, sign the paper, anybody that comes. I happened to ask Brandon then, and then I said, "Brandon, we doing that event down there. I give away back to school giveaway. I give away to my Chef Tony Davis from TNT Entertainment, TNT Enterprise. Y'all from Pennsylvania Avenue. He's got a store on Park Heights. He's got a store on Poplar Grove. My good friend. We give away the back to school book bags and stuff like that. So we needed some chairs, tables. We said, well, ask found out what he said. I'm gonna ask my grandfather. You know what I mean? He came in and Ted was there. Ted, the grandfather wasn't there at that time. And he asked, I said, well, figure out how we can work this out. He said, y'all can get whatever. Ted said, you can get whatever you need, tables and chairs, get whatever you need. I said, well, what is it? What does he have? How much does he want for him? He said, he wants you to bring them back. I said, what do you mean? He said, that's what he said, bring them back. The tables and chairs are free. You don't have to do nothing. Use them and bring them back. I said,
Right. Bring
I
them
didn't.
back.
It took me a minute because everybody rents tables and chairs. You know what I mean? I said, well, what does it cost? He said, what do we have to do? What does he want for him? My exact
Bring
what
them
Brandon
back.
said. He wants you to bring them back, and then that's what Dirk said. Come on, you know, Dirk. Come on, all you just
Yeah, I
gotta do
know.
is
I
just
know.
have enough muscle to bring them back. Come on,
Yeah,
come
Dirt
on,
boy.
You know, he did. You see what I'm
He
saying?
probably
Yeah,
was
yeah.
doing the Dirt McGurk at the
Yeah,
time. He
yeah,
probably
he
was
You
doing
doing
it.
the
already
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
dance, his
Come on,
dance.
all you gotta do is bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. I just laughed and I said, and those are fond memories. His memory was
Mm-hmm.
I gave him a free moon bounce. You know what I mean? That he was. My memory was how much stuff he had already given away. It was when I say
Mm-hmm.
tables full of toys. I'm talking Christmas. I ain't talking about everybody come in and get a
Mm-hmm.
toy. I'm talking about if your child don't have not one thing under the tree, they will leave out of there with a real Christmas. They had bikes, they
Mm-hmm.
had big wheels. I ain't never seen so many toys.
Mm-hmm.
It was
You're right.
like, like a Toys R Us. And then that's when Brandon said, oh, they do this every year. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
They do this every year. That's when the conversation went. So that's what I know about your dad. That was my dealings with
Mm-hmm.
your dad. That he came
Mm-hmm.
up with the concept that bring them back. What you got to do for the
Mm-hmm.
tables and chairs? Use them and bring them back. I ain't asked nothing. In Park
Right.
Heights, in Park Heights, I
Mm-hmm.
said, what does it mean? He said, yes, sometimes people get 20 of them and only bring 15 back. All that my
And
Mm-hmm.
grandfather asked, all the Ted said, bring them back. Whatever you use, bring them back. Go ahead, see.
Bring them
and
back.
it's so funny that just something as seemingly small to somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a big deal because we have just gotten in the habit of everything is about what we can make. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? How
Right.
much money
Right.
can we make off of it? If I people come over here all the time to our house and borrow the damnedest things. Some things
Mm-hmm.
that some things that you would never even think that somebody would come to borrow.
Oh, I
But
You're
know.
cooler. You're cooler.
yeah,
Right.
a borrow cooler. Let me hold your folding table. Let me get your can opener. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Anything.
no. I had
But
me and my wife was just talking about somebody came over and got a whole gallon of milk. You know what I'm
A
saying?
gallon of milk?
Out a whole gallon of milk. I didn't know that. I didn't even think that that's what they was trying to do. I didn't even stop them because, like I told my wife, if they really really needed it like that, then I can I'd rather help them. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, but who comes over and gets and leaves with a gallon of milk like they was in Giants or something? You know
Yeah.
we
what I'm
we
saying?
we
You
we
act like
have
you
we
in
have
Giants.
events.
You in
We
Mars.
have
You in
events.
Mars.
We have events. Food wind up missing out the freezer. The brand new box of trash bags that I know I just bought. I go to get a trash bag, is gone. And I know that I'm not saying that anybody that's in our circle is rich, but I know that every single person that come in this house can afford to buy their own trash bag.
Right, right, right,
But
right.
at the end of the day, when it come down to some of this stuff, I don't even say somebody stole a pair of my shoes one
I
time.
knew
We
that
had
was Lord
Mm.
have mercy.
my
Doc, I knew that was coming.
What?
I knew that was coming.
let me tell you something. My favorite pair of one of a kind sandals that I wore to Paris. And my husband often gets on me.
$137 sandals.
He often gets on me about the way that I lay things around, but my heart is
But
just
you in
not
your
set up.
house. You in your
I'm
house
home.
though.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
weren't
I
ready
feel
for
like
that.
my husband will even tell me, take your wallet off the table. I said, why? Don't nobody live here but me and you. What, you gonna steal it? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
my mind don't work that way because I
Right,
feel like
right, right.
the reason you put locks on your door is to lock the people that you don't trust out.
Oh,
They're supposed to be on the other side.
Right,
So
right.
if
I get
excuse
it.
you
me.
in
Excuse
here,
me.
then obviously you're somebody that I feel like I can trust. But we
Hmm.
all know how that worked out. I ain't seen my shoes. I know that.
Hmm.
I mean, hey, Doc, you see me let that go. Because I mean that
Yeah.
in the bad part about them things like that, Doc, you know about it in your car. You could be looking around for your light or looking at something. You just keep thinking
Hmm.
you misplaced it. You misplaced it. It took
Right,
us
and
a good little
that's
while
what
to
I said. I
realize the
didn't
shoes
want to
were gone.
believe that for nothing in the world. I didn't want to
Yeah.
believe that for nothing in the world. I looked for those shoes without exaggeration for an entire year. We cleaned out every
Mm.
closet, every under the stand, every storage space because I couldn't believe. And to this day, I always say one day I'm gonna come across my shoes because I can't believe that somebody would actually come to your home when you invited them, gave them free food, free drinks, everything you want, sky's the
And the
limit.
food
Take
was good too.
everything. Because when we yeah,
Yeah,
and I know
yeah,
I had them. I take my shoes off at the front door a lot of times, so I know exactly where I left them. So when they weren't there,
Hmm.
I knew
yeah.
they were gone. But I said, it's no way that somebody can't. Nobody would do that, but somebody
Yeah,
did
it,
it.
Hey
it
y'all.
it's really sad though, you know, it's really sad, you know, because, you know, like for me, you know, people could have a lot of money, you know. I don't have a reputation like if I took somebody's girl home, I'm trying to holler at 'em. Or, you know, or if I
Yeah,
had to, or if
right,
I'm at
right,
somebody's
right.
house and I see they got, you know, cash, you know, under a cup or something, you know, on their I mean, I wouldn't even think about it, you know. And but that, to be honest with you, the key piece is to not let this world change us who we are, because you know,
Wow.
because we are a special breed.
Yeah,
And the thing is that we kind of like do things that was done back in the day, and they don't make people like this no more.
right.
And so we have to just make sure that we don't allow the world to change us, you know what I'm saying, the way that people have become, you know. And that's just simple as that for me.
That's true. Hey y'all. But if anybody doesn't know out there in podcast land what's going on, we call ourselves It's Party Marty. Let's talk. You've been entertained tonight because the night was a different format. We just wanted to sit back and talk about some topics. And we talked about some things. You know, we wasn't dead. I guess you can still
Hmm.
hear me. We're in Randallstown, and whenever I'm tell you something about Randallstown, but Fred, Ted, you know, you out here for a while. The wind blow, anything can affect you out here. I got a whole house
Yeah.
generator because we was in the
Lord
dark
no.
more than we was in the light out this joint, man. When it snow, you might as well go get you some gas right
Hmm.
then because your electric
Right,
is
right,
going out.
right, right.
It's crazy. So now, you know, that's what it's
Yeah.
going back and forth. But anyhow, our
Right.
format tonight was just a round table to talk about some topics. And we talked about some things, you know. We get ready to close out. We got our last 4 or 5 minutes right here. So Dr. Ted, anything that you want to
Hmm.
touch on before we leave?
Well, just to say, you know what, this was the first Father's Day that I celebrated without my father, but I feel like I celebrated it with him. So I actually, you know, was had a program, and then I also spoke in Philly for you know, Father's Day, and I was able to really share, you know, how he had changed my life and saved my life. And so for my father to be somebody who put up with me but didn't give up on me. And I think that we need to be, as fathers, if we have to, go after our sons, chase them, do whatever we have to do, pray for them, set a standard for them, let them see what a man should be as an example. And so for me, you know, instead of me being in the fetal position, crying, upset, hurt, you know, and everything else, I celebrated what God had allowed me to have, you know. And I was able to give him flowers while he was alive, and I thank God that I was that. And the main piece was he was able to see me change from who I was to who
Yeah.
I ended up becoming. And I think that that was something major for me.
Thanks, Doc. I want to comment on two persons that are in our audience, our listening audience. Twala Muhammad, who is a part of our panel, who will be with us next week. Twala Muhammad she tells all the time she's been a single parent for quite some time. Remember her line, Cece? He said, I've been a single parent forever. You know what I mean? Don't go up and talk about what you can't do with your kids. Her, you know what I mean? Her kids are aggressive. You know what I mean? When you came along, if you see them in the yard, you think they just bad. You know what I mean? Because they play kids. They are. They not no little sit around do nothing kids. They kids
Right,
kids.
right, right.
You know what I mean? They move around. They back and forth. I look at him grown up now. He grew up. He's grown now. Her son's big as I don't know what. But she never gave up and said, I'm not going to be the person if the daddy's not always in the house. She's educated and everything like that. But Twala, she'll give you everything you need, won't she? Nicest person, educated, always the boss. She always says she ain't the boss, but I know it's being a boss. But anyhow, but guess what? She'll give you two to the jaw, one to the head. That's what you need. And BB, I know BB from Written Moon Bouncers from me, for her grandchildren. Her grandchildren are prominent now, college kids and stuff like that. But BB is in everything, anything and everything with them kids. They in swimming class, they in dance, they in this, they in that. They do. You better put some time and effort into these kids. You know what I mean? Put some time and effort into your life. Put some time and effort into your prayer. Put some time and effort into your well done, Jadada boys, whatever else. Put some time and effort into anything that's important to you. And if there's nothing that you have that requires your time and effort, then find something that does. Put some
Right,
time and
right.
effort into
Right.
you. You need to find something that
Right.
got some time and effort. CC, we
Right.
got 3 more minutes
And that's
before
some
we go
new
home.
here.
You got a topic?
And people, and I just wanted to say, like, people should realize about children that if you know, they understand this concept about money, but they don't understand it about their children. If you go to if you don't put any money in your bank account, you cannot take your ATM card and go to the machine and get money because you haven't put anything in. And the same thing goes for children. You have to invest in your children. You have to spend some time with them. You have to give them some guidance, give them some role models, get them to see the things that you would like them to be. So you
Yeah.
can't expect your children to be productive members of society if you have not put anything into your children.
Hmm.
Hey, look who popped in there for a minute. Who's that? Is that Rosanna, Dana, Anna?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I
Hey,
couldn't
baby, how
Yeah.
resist.
you doing?
I couldn't resist. I finished my training a little early, so I thought I'd pop on just to say hi and listen in.
Hey, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
it. That's Rosanna, Dana,
Well,
Anna.
you know,
That's
we're
our
always glad to see you. We know you were
Thank
missing.
you.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
our award-winning Rosanna, Dana, Anna. You know everything is Saturday. I'll give you all the information. But before we go, since we have another 4 minutes, Rosanna, tell us about your day or anything. First of all, when you been out to the prom? You don't not like you don't always look good, but
I'm
you're
about to
beautiful.
say you
What's
looking
going
a
on?
little jazzy there tonight.
Oh yeah, what's going?
Well,
Uh oh.
Let us find out, Jane.
Yeah.
well, I don't know whether you all knew, but the Ravens had a job fair last week, and I was called in to participate in a training tonight for a supervisor. So I was really excited because, they're offering me this position. So I'm hoping that they'll select me. I haven't heard a definite yet, but looking forward to it. And I love my Ravens. So anything I can do, to be in the stadium during the game is,
Go Ravens.
definitely
Go
go
Ravens,
Ravens.
baby.
That's it.
All right, all right.
That's it.
Go Ravens.
So,
Hey, listen, Rosanna, Dana, Anna. If everybody doesn't know, we're now a syndicated show. We're also on 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. You'll see Dr. Ted. You'll see Rosanna, Dana, Anna. You'll see CC, and you'll see that handsome young man that they call Party. We need everybody to be there and be on board. Saturday at I'll post what it is. Rosanna, Dana, Anna, and Gina Lee and CC Miss Taste will be awarded the Black Wall Street Award for their time, effort, and work in the podcast. One thing about
thank you.
Dr. Sutton, he gets in there all the time and he always talks real smooth and he's nice with it. But I'm going to tell y'all something about Dr. Sutton that you may want to do when you're listening. You may want to get your little pen in there. Just write a few things down. He is the king of one-liners. He'll hit you with some stuff. See, won't he? He said this time. He wait a minute. Let me try this one that I really like. He said, Lil Melvin said, I can. What was it about his name,
He said I can
Doctor?
spend my
What he say?
name where other people. He said I could spend my name where other people couldn't spend their money.
Gee, man. I went to use that doc and I messed it up, man. So guess what? It'll be written down on my hand from now. You know what I mean? Hey, hey, hey. As we always do, let's go around the clock and let's do it. Hey, Rosanna, Dan, Anna, since you usually get two, you're going to give us your closing thought first, and then you're going to end up with your closing thought last. So, Gina Lee, closing thought for the evening.
I just want to say that we all need to, and Cece was talking about this, I believe, when I popped in. We really need to focus on our kids. Our children are getting ready to be left behind if we don't put the effort into educating them now. Because Baltimore City really is kind of sweeping this under the rug, that they are not and I don't say that a child needs to be held back. A child needs to be educated, and they need to provide programs for them to be educated, so that they can catch up.
Okay.
So that's all I want to say.
Gina Lee, thank you and thanks for chiming in there. Dr. Sutton, closing thoughts.
You know what? I would say I think I'm on the page, with her. I think that we kind of got to go back to the village. It takes a village, meaning that, for some mothers, you may have to be a mother to your daughter's friend who don't have somebody. For some fathers, you may have to be like a father figure to your son's friend. And we have to really, embrace the community and not just expect that everything is being in place in homes. We have to do wraparound services for our homes to try to help them to build a better home. Because right now, everything is not necessarily the way that it should be. But I think that we could do it, but we're just going to have to actually care more about it. It don't matter if it's your blood. It shouldn't have to
Right.
be your blood for you to help that person. They shouldn't have to be your niece or your nephew or your daughter to feed them. To ask them, what, do you need a dress for graduation? Or
Right.
let me just donate some shoes to your prom. We have to take care of ourselves, as far as that. Before social service was there, before service was in play, what I'm saying, communities and churches, we used to take care of our own people. If somebody was sick, they would send somebody from the church that would come clean your house. They would bring
Yeah, yeah,
food and everything. And we
Yeah.
have to kind of get back to knowing our neighbor. And so then that's it.
yeah. Willing workers. CC, closing thoughts.
And to stick with the same thing, because we are all so cohesive with this, let me just stick with the same thing in saying that people, we so quick to criticize these young people and to point out all the things that they've done wrong and all the ways that they fall short. But before we do any of that, we just have to ask ourselves one question: what can I do to help? We all can complain. We all can talk about it. We all can say how bad they are, how violent they are. They're not the way we were, and all of that. And that's all true. But if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So
Yes.
before you get on your high horse to say, who knows what set of circumstances brought these young people to be the way that they are today. So we got to try to stop standing in a place of judgment and try to be in a place where we help them. And we got to ask ourselves, what can I do? Because we all can do a little more. We all can do a little more.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What an awesome day. My closing thought is exactly the format that Gina started and went around the horn. Thanks for popping in there, Gina. You were definitely impacted. You impacted the closing. You are a heavy hitter, and that's why we're here and we mean it. As they
Hmm.
say, what Doctor said, Dr. Taylor said, Dr. Sutton said. That's the same thing CC said. That's what Gina Lee said, and this is what I'm saying. It was plain and simple with the Little League. It's plain and simple. A lot of people say it all the time, but we have to stick to it. It goes simple as this: each one teach one.
There you go.
Each one teach one. Each
Yeah.
one teach one. Everybody figure out what you can do to help somebody. That's all. Each one teach one. If you don't know what's going on this evening, what you have witnessed is our usual panel, and Gina Lee says it's real simple as this: God, greatness
God
on
on
display. That's
display.
what we are as a panel, greatness on display. Hands up to a good show, everybody. Hands up to a good show, everybody. Hands up, everybody. Appreciate you all for being there. That's
I
what's
just
up.
want to say one more thing.
Hey, that's
One,
what's up. Don't worry.
each one,
See you in
each
12 hours. Go ahead, Gina.
each one of us can change the world. It's just that we
Mhm.
all
Go ahead,
have to
Gina.
do it at the same time.
Mm. Yep,
Absolutely.
that's right.
Say that again.
I
Say
said
that
each
again,
one
Gina.
of
Bring us
us,
home.
each one of us can change the world. It's just that we all have to do it at the same time.
Mm. That's deep. That's deep.
Hey, I usually do my closing with Eminem, but sometimes y'all you have to leave perfection where it is. I think that
Hmm.
was our closeout right there. I don't think nothing else needs to be
Yes.
said. This ain't no time for song and dance or nothing like that. We're gonna take it home. Simple as that.
All
Thank you
right.
for an awesome show, everybody. See you tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
All
To
right.
my panel, thank you very to my panel. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Good night, Gina. Good night,
All
Good
Dr.
right.
night
Good
Sun.
and
night.
God
Good
Good
bless
night,
night.
CC.
everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night, Johnny. Good night, John Boy. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. See y'all then. And to always, to God
Amen.
be the glory.
All
All
right.
right.
Yes.
Peace.